Hello, hello, hello. So again, we are here down in the work in progress section on Bethesda.net. I'm on the Xbox here. Trying to show you how you can find these things, as best I can. You have to go down to work in progress. You have to scroll to the right and you'll find a whole bunch of these. Luckily, the modder S4Zenda does give us a link on each of these mods if you go and look at it on Bethesda. And you can actually go to that mod and find that specific main mod. It would be nice if these mods were out of work in progress so that we could search on them easier on the Xbox. Let's see, no longer tracking comments. I don't know how to contact this modder and tell them that though, because we are having trouble with that. Now you're going to notice, you're going to see some changes. This is variations, armor and clothing recolors, and it's clothes. And you're going to notice some changes. It's not going to be just colors. Sometimes there's going to be meshes that are changed. So when we pull our little trick later in the second half of this, and I try to show you one of the other armor replacers mixed with these colors, you may see some difference. You may see some items that don't totally change or turn out the way you want because of the changes. Nonetheless, in the mesh, that's okay though. I mean, that's going to happen, but this gives you a chance to kind of mash things up and see what you want. This mod is going to replace all these sets: the Archmage, the Mage robes, Barkeeper and Chef clothes, Beggar and Prisoner clothes, Blacksmith apron, Farmer, Mourner, Vampire simple clothes, Fine clothes, excluding the wedding outfit, so I'm not sure about that. Merchant clothes, Monk, Necromancer, Warlock, and Moth Priest robes, so a lot of robes. Mythic Dawn robes. Do I even have those? I'm not sure if my girl even has those in her bag. Sigic robes, Redguard clothes, again, not sure if I have those. Thalmor robes, which we have. Now this says replaces the meshes as well, so it may make a difference. It says noble clothes, so I guess all the noble clothing, and fur trimmed cloak, excluding Ulfric's variant. Female variant of the tavern clothes have been replaced with a green recolor of the merchant clothes. So they have changed the tavern clothes, and it sounds like they've totally changed the tavern clothes with a green color of the merchant clothes, so it's going to really be different. It's not going to be the tavern dress that you might imagine. Okay? So it's variations, armor and clothing recolors, and it's the clothes. Notice that it's just barely under 215 megabytes. It's a big mod. Okay, and if you use this in conjunction with another replacer to get that mesh and this color, it's going to be that much more space. I've played around with this and I enjoyed playing with it, but to keep it through a whole playthrough, that would be a challenge, Anyway, you'd have to really be focused on just these things, because it would eat up a lot of space. Not saying it wouldn't be worth it though, just saying that that's the sacrifice you would have to make. So let's go get on Hope, who is ready. She is ready to show us some of this clothing. Pardon me, I must be getting dry or something. Alright, we left her in this outfit anyway, and I tried to fix her eyes back after our last thing. So don't worry about that, but she has a lot of apparel. She can drop the boots and the gauntlets. Let's see, the Mage's robes. You can see the coloring. It's a nicer, darker version. I think looks really good. Let's see. Barkeeper's clothes. This is one version, and I think it looks good. It's a little darker. It's a little, would you say, more realistic looking? I don't know, but it's different. It looks good. Now this is like a vanilla version. I don't have any replacer, so I just got this. That's replacing. This is just replacing. Is this different? This is a little darker too. This is just replacing the clothing in the game. It's really just recoloring it for most of them, it doesn't replace the actual item, it just recolors it. I think the black looks better this way. It looks more like the others too. The blacksmith apron, again, it just looks darker and it makes more sense in the way it looks. That looks really nice, really. Now, how about the other one? Is the other one gonna look pretty good? Yep. So both of them look really good. That is the blacksmith apron. So we're trying to look at all clothing here. We may find some clothes that it doesn't affect. We'll deal with that. But the blue robes, they look more gray than blue, but I don't know. You could say that's Confederate blue. I don't know. Oh, we'll just stay away from all those subjects. Anyway, so brown. The brown robe. All the robes are going to look very similar, just different coloring. Let's see, chef's tunic is, again, it's going to look like the barkeep's outfit, but it has well, you know what? Actually, they've changed it. It's colored differently. Because it's got the tan on it, and the chef's tunic usually does not have that. I don't know how many of these clothes are going to be different. I'm assuming most of these clothes are going to be different. See? Because a lot of these just say clothes. But it looks like they've colored it and mixed some things up and tried to make it look better. I would say overall the colors, maybe I'm just tired of the old colors, but these colors seem like a good replacement. And you know, sometimes that's the problem. We just get tired of seeing the same old thing. So when we get something new and different, we're like, oh, that's so nice. You know how we are. That's the way people are. We just have to admit it. But I do. I think these, I've looked at some of these before, and I think these are very nice. So, and he's made some of the outfits, I'm sorry, the modder has made some of the outfits more two-tone. I don't know if these college robes have changed. They look darker, so I'm going to say yes, it has changed. It looks like it has. And we'll go back and look at the mod and see if I messed up anything. Yeah, these have changed. They're a different, I think that might even, is that a different pattern too? It's definitely a slightly darker color. Again, if you just darken some of this stuff up, it looks a lot better. I don't think these clothes count. I don't see a difference there. I'm going to move on. I don't think there is a difference there. Let's go on. Let's go down to some other clothing items. Which now I'm having trouble finding clothing items. Before, okay, this looks like this changed. Even though it doesn't specifically say, you can just look at that and tell that that's different. The coloring is different. That looks the same. It might have changed, it might not have changed. It's very hard for me to tell. Now the fine clothes have changed. You can see they're just a shade darker and they look better somehow. I'm not going to try to figure that out. I'm not a good enough artist or modder or anything, because I'm not a modder at all, because I don't have the tools to mod. I guess when I get my new, well, that's a thought for somebody who has more time. I don't know if I have that much time. I was going to say maybe I could teach myself to do it when I get a new laptop next year, but that would mean I would have to teach myself how to do it, so that would take some time. Anyway, and I am doing quite a bit here just to make our videos and all. This looks very good. Now you'll notice something weird here that I did not see previously. Look at her ankles. We have a gap. Now I know it's not a big deal, that you can easily just put on some boots and the gap goes away. but I think it's very weird that we have a gap. I don't usually have those types of gaps. Usually that means something is different. So it could be, you know, let's pause here for a moment. Okay, well, after trying what I could, I decided to stick with the boots. That kind of thing is happening because I'm bringing stuff in and out of this game so much, so it's just the way it is. You normally don't have that kind of trouble unless you're, unless you're bringing things in and out of a game and you're kind of messing with your character's weight and different things. It kind of creates those gaps. But simply putting on some boots will take care of it, or gloves, as I did in one case. In this case, it'll all be fine. It's not really going to matter for our purposes. We can still look at the colors of the outfits, and that's really what we're interested in. So let's see. So we looked at the fur trimmed cloak, and we can put on some gloves if we need to, though that has not been a problem. Look at that. They recolored the gloves. Those look nice. Those gloves look really nice. That's cool. So green robes. Still don't look green, but they look better than the vanilla ones. Gray robes. They look good. Look kind of gray. Kind of like they've been wore a bit. I'm not sure if the graybeard stuff has changed. No, I don't see any difference there. I think that would be something they would have listed if they had changed that. Let's try the hooded black robes. Yep, they changed that, and that looks right. The blue, there's not going to be much difference. Little color variation in these. You're not going to see a great deal of difference. Pretty much like the unhooded version. Now the red ones, oh, they're still white, but oh, look at that. They made the hood all nice and red. They made the stripe very red. So that's better. Still not red, in my opinion, but nonetheless, it's better. Let's see. I don't think, I don't know. Did the Jester's clothes change? I'm going to say not. I'm going to say not. I'm not going to look at the mage hoods. We can look at the mantled robe and see, see, that's darker. That looks better. Look at the other version. That looks good. And then the merchant clothes. And I think you get a couple variations of the merchant clothes. Get this darker variation. Very nice. We do. I don't seem to have the miner's clothes, but I have the miner's boots. That's kind of silly. This was not in this change. No, this is clothing. Noble clothing is in the change. And you can see that that's different. It's darker and nicer looking. I think they do more than just darken it up. I think they clean things up about it somehow. I couldn't tell you what they're doing, though. I'm not going to claim to know that. Yeah, we looked at those earlier, right? Those look nice. Now, I think the Sijic stuff changed. Yes. They recolored all of this. It looks good. It looks good. Red robes. I think we looked at that. I'm going to move on and try to find us more clothing that was affected by this change. I don't want to overdo it. Oh, we may be nearly done. The tavern clothes, he said, or the modder said that they had changed that, and indeed they have. It looks more like the merchant clothes, which is an interesting idea. And then there's the Telvanni. Well, these haven't been changed by this mod, so I apologize for that. These have not changed. Did they say they changed the Thalmor? I think they changed the Thalmor. This is the hooded version. They did. Look at that coloring. I love this coloring of the Thalmor. It looks really good. And if you do the one without the hood, it still looks Super good. Let's see, those are not affected. Now they said, but they meant the simple clothes, not these armor. They meant there's a vampire outfit, and the wedding dress they specifically said did not change. There is a vampire outfit that is a clothing outfit. Let's see if we can. I don't know if we'll be able to find it though, because it's so, there's so much to scroll through if we go looking for it. And it's not this. These are all armor. It's one that's not armor. It's one that's just it's like just an outfit. It's just a dress type of thing. Yeah, it might be too much to scroll through this to find it. So, okay, we'll worry about that another time. We've seen plenty. I mean, if you're interested in this mod, I think you've probably seen enough to know, you know. Now, this has all been in the vanilla shape. So, I want to do a save here. And I want to go out, and we're going to change. Now there may be some conflicts, okay, but we're going to change over to another armor set. Kind of like I did in my previous video, but this time we're going to choose the OwwThat armor set. You know, it's one of the skimpy sets so that you can see how this can even affect those. Because I showed you in the last video how it can affect my normal replacer, but what if I use this, which we know this is OwwThat and more of a skimpy replacer. Okay, so it's really a big mesh. It doesn't have much in it other than meshes. Now it may have a few textures, and any textures it has would mess up our variations textures, but let's just see what we get. It should retain, most of these will retain the variations colors, but it will have the shape of our replacer. See, like here. It retained that color from the variations, but it has the shape of the new replacer that we just turned on. So this is the idea that I talk about when I say you can kind of mash it up. Let's go find some of the other stuff. Those don't count. The tavern clothes. Now, because they changed the tavern clothes completely, it no longer, you know, works the way you might want it to. But like I said, that's because they totally changed the tavern clothes. Now this is the red robes, and you can tell that it maintained a lot of the coloration. Maybe not all of it, but a lot of it. I'm not saying they're all going to be perfect. This is the novice robes. Again, it maintains a lot of the coloration. Noble clothes. A lot of the coloring is staying the same, even though other things are changing. Mourner's clothes. So you get the idea there. Let's see, do we have, let's see, we got the merchant's clothes. Now any of these that they changed too drastically, it may not work. We may have some exceptions, you know, just like we did a few minutes ago with the tavern clothes. But you get the idea. The mantled college robes, they're a little different than the others. And then the other mantled one's just a little darker. let's see. Let's head on up. Get out of this. If I miss anything, you can always tell me. The robes are all going to look pretty similar, so you're not really missing anything just because I'm skipping over the robes. They're all going to look very similar. Let's see. There's the gray robes again. Not very different. Just coloring. Fur trim cloak. Again, the coloring is there from the variations, but the shape is more like this mod. Now this is not 100%, so I don't think that got changed. So I'm just gonna move on. This, I think somehow they overrode that. Yeah, I don't think these are not, for whatever reason, perhaps they have their own texture built into the mod, but these are not taking the variations texture, I do not believe. Let's look at the embellished robes. Now it is let's move on. There's some more things we can look at here. I don't think we're quite done yet. I don't think there was any difference in any of this. And the cultist, I don't remember the cultist having any difference. We did the cuffed boots. The college robes will be a little different, such as you've seen before. Alright, so then we get into some different clothes. Now it's going to try to keep the coloring when it can. I don't know how different some of these might end up being. That one, I think it tried to keep the color, but depends on how much change was done. Alright, so I think you get the idea. Here we can just, let's see, is there anything else? We do have the brown robes you could look at again, but there's not a big difference there. Blue robes, again, not a big difference. We can look at the blacksmith aprons. They still kept the color, they look very good, and they're still very, open in the back. That's the way they made them. So you're not going to see much of the red. You're just going to see the true apron. So, let's see. The black robes are there. The belted tunic. It kept the color. Yep, it kept that color. So let's see, we wanted to look at the, did we look at the chef again? We should have looked at the chef. I think I missed it. The chef's tunic. Now this, I think it lost the variations coloring. I think it did. Now, we'll see for sure. We'll go back up here to the barkeep. Yeah, I think this, it's hard to be sure. I think it at least maintained closer to its coloring. Alright, I'm going to have to stop here for a minute. So, alright, so sorry for the interruption. We were planning our supper. So this was the barkeep clothes that we were looking at a few minutes ago. And the Archmage robes, I believe this is the final thing to look at. Notice it kept the coloring from the variations, but it kept the shape from the other replacer. So I just wanted to show you that you can do that. It's not that big a deal. It's actually pretty easy. Let me just save her here for a second. So we can go turn that off. Now for the clothing, the variation colors, it also affects the clothing that the guys wear. So I'll try to trip through that kind of quickly for you once I turn this mod off. We'll do the usual where we give Hope a sex change and come back. Okay, it won't take but a minute. But let's turn this mod off so that we don't have to have any conflict or have it trying to show this shape. We'll just stick with the variations in the vanilla shape. We will get a warning when I load my game, but we don't have to reset just to get the meshes out of the way. This usually works just fine. Textures generally, and like grass and things like that, tend to need the most resetting. Don't know for sure why that is, but the game seems less reluctant to add or load new meshes. Now I have probably found I could probably find some exception, but in general. Okay, so here she is, and she's wearing the Armour gloves, isn't she? That's funny. Not bad, but funny. I was going to give her the regular cloth gloves. I didn't realize I was going to have to stand here for 10 minutes while we did this. There we go. Nonetheless, there we go. So what we're going to do is switch her over to a guy so you can see there's really not that much difference, but I think it's worth your time just to see it and know that these colors still come through for a guy. And I mean, the way a guy looks and the way a girl looks is significantly different. That's something you like on a girl you may not like on a guy. So okay, come on, there we go. Okay, so Hope is going to be this dude here for the next few minutes anyway. So there you go. He has the Archmage, and you can see the darkness of that. It looks a lot better that way. It really does. Let me go up here and I'll show you, like, we'll just rush through some of these because we don't have to take too long. But I think it's worth just seeing what they're going to look like on him, like the barkeep. See, that's a good color, looks nice. I think that looks very nice. The other barkeep, again, looks very good. Let's see, let's head on down. The belted tunic, we'll show him that. Alright, not fancy, but good. It's the man dress. Black robes. I think that looks good. And the blacksmith apron is going to look, yep. There you go. It's got that color to it. A little bit of a shine, like it's a nice leather apron, which it should be. It should be. I'm not saying it should be really shiny, but it should be leather. Let's see. Let's move on. Blue robes aren't going to look much different than black robes, so I'm not going to waste a lot of time. Brown. Looks pretty brown. Chef's tunic. I don't remember what the chef's tunic looks like on a guy, but okay. That's fine. That's the chef's tunic. I'll give you a quick rundown on some of the clothes. Some of these clothes I think look significantly better with the variations. I mean, just the different colors. I don't know. And they may have changed some of the meshes. I don't know how much though. But for a lot of these, you can just look at them and say, yeah, that looks a lot better. Just the different color variations, I think, looks a lot better. Oh yeah, college robes. We can show his college robes. Looks good. He's got these. Again, look nice. Let's see, these did not count. Those did not count. If I miss anything, you can always let me know, but it's really not going to make that much difference. The robes look better like this when they're a little darker. You know, your Jarls and stuff might look a little better. Oh, I think that still looks the same. Let's move on. The fine clothes, they look good. Depends on what you like. I prefer the gray ones myself. But nonetheless, they're all good. That doesn't change. This changes. This looks significantly different and better with these colors. I really think so. The robes are still going to be the robes. I don't think we need to belabor that point. The hooded ones are still going to look like the others, but with a hood, I'll show you the red one. How's that? Because I do like the red one, because it gives you some contrast, you know. Let's see. I don't think the Jester's clothes change at all. I don't think so. We won't do the hood. The mantled robes, now those change. There's two variations of that. There's merchant clothes. And you can look at either version. They look pretty good. And then I think if they show the tavern clothes, here's the mourner's clothes, they're going to look the same. Let's see. This is the noble's clothes. This is going to look different. Looks good though. I think we looked at something very similar to that. It's the red robes, the refined tunic. It's so refined. I'm so refined. Sorry. my little bit of silliness coming out. I can't help it sometimes. Anyway, let's move along. Let's look at the tavern clothes. And it does look more like a recolor of the merchant clothes, but that's fine, especially for a guy. And oh, last but not least, he can wear the Thalmor and look truly evil and despicable, and yet great at the same time. So fashionable. He actually looked better with the hood. Maybe it's because he's a guy, but nonetheless, even without the hood, he's still looking good. I think that's everything. Yeah, the wedding dress doesn't count. We'll make him... Oh, this is what the wedding dress looks like on a guy. It's not a wedding dress at all. Looks kind of nice. They didn't change it though, so don't think I'm including that. I'm not. Alright, so there we go. So that's the male, the female, and it shows you the little trick you can do if you don't mind, you know, moving things around and turning things off and on and playing around with it to see what you can get. Okay, so this mod, and I know this was more to show because it involved more clothing was changed than of that other armor. Plus I had the interruptions, so I apologize for the interruptions. Hopefully when you watch the video you won't see much difference there. I'll try to just, you know, clip those out and clip the video back together so it won't be so noticeable. Oh, I went too far. Sorry about that. So it's variations, armor and clothing. It is a big mod. It's 215 megabytes. I'm sorry, we have to say that's a big mod. We do not have a lot of space. But is it a nice mod? Does it look good? Yes. It absolutely does. Even if you mash it up with another mod, it still looks good. So, there we go. It replaces all these sets here. It's from Sforzinda. Anyway, and it replaces all these clothes. Now I did not have all of these clothes, like the Red Guard clothes and maybe another thing or two, beggar clothes and prisoner clothes, but I think you saw enough. I think that's sufficient. I think that's very good. So let's see, is there anything else? Nope, I believe that's it. So, thank you for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day. And I will catch you later.